So just for a review, basically sat down, came up with a super quick outline, proceed to write the dialogue and stuff out. What I do when I'm doing this though is anything that's not done stays bolded so I can easily find stuff I've got to come back and fix. I tend to write now in the same format that it's going to be entered in a database, so it's fairly copy paste, not without error, but it's copy paste. If you look here, this is bold still because I had thought that we hadn't fixed the ability for NPCs to cast spells on you, but apparently we have. So improved that earlier today, which is nice. So I've still got to make this buff. This is no longer bolded. And so what I do is I'll have like, sometimes it'll just be like items or whatever, but in bold so I can find it when I come back up. Come through, I break out all of the different interaction dialogues. Hey, what's up, Justin Beard? And so this is for both quests and all additional dialogues. So you can see it's a fair bit of writing. I apologize. I'm the first person to be like, don't make the players read your book, but it seemed necessary, seemed worthwhile. Hate trying to make bard stuff. They're such a weird class trope. Ours are, I don't know. I think we've got a different, we're leveraging a different trope with our bards. Our bards have the usual sort of bardy thing going on, but our bards guild, this guild at least, as you'll find it in Night Harbor. Each of our class guilds will have a different feel depending on the city that you're in. But at Night Harbor, they're very much the people that are invited everywhere, and they're the people that you want to be seen around if you're the sort of hoi polloi, the upper class, or the people that are looking to appear powerful and wealthy, or if you just got a need. So they're everywhere and they're well connected, and the guild itself isn't just bards. So this particular guild is bards and actors and artists and art dealers, and they're very much a guild that maintains its comfort and relevance through their ability to get you to things you need or the information you need or to make certain things happen. That's kind of the angle, and the quest makes that pretty clear right up front, because so far I've avoided doing any delivery quests. I think I've tried to avoid delivery quests. It's been a while since I've gone back through the first ones, but try to avoid delivery quests as a starter thing. But for the bards, it felt like this one would be a fun one to do the delivery quest for, because you're got a courier bag full of gifts that you are then taking to various people distributed throughout the city, and you're learning a little bit of background on them, sort of whether you know it or not. That is really relevant to their characters longer term and to some longer term plot points. And yeah, and then they're giving you these little metal sealed parchment vials in return. The gift is not free in any of the cases. And so that's the first quest series. It's just running around town. And so that's why I want to have this ability created. Because I also, rather than have you like sort of, it's a big city, I wanted you to feel kind of bardy as well, in the sense that you're going to get to run really fast later, right? As kind of an idea that the NPC is not going to run with you and give you like a move rate buff. So I had this idea of the guy that you're dealing with, Jamie Langree. Jamie's jaunty jingle. And so he casts this buff on you that's basically a bard move rate buff, but it only lasts for a certain period of time because it's this jingle that's stuck in your head, right? So it's still a song, it's just the song stuck in your head, right? That's what I was going to go for with it. So I still need to make that buff. I got to put it on him now that I know that we can actually have that buff fire, and that'll be your newbie, your first newbie quest, is to run around and learn a little bit about these people and learn this city and pick up some secret info, and then you got to go kill some things and collect some things for the next step. So business as usual in newbie quests, old school MMO land. UK Rad said, or the batteries run out of your Walkman so you lose the buff. Yeah, I mean the jingle fades out of your head at some point. It's like, it's disappeared. Are Bards and Eminem kind of like the Gleeman and Wheel of Time? kind of like traveling troubadours. I mean, the Sojourner bards would probably fall more into that, because the Sojourners are typically traveling about. We'll grab this guy here. We'll come down here. Oops. Cool. All right. So number one, let's look and let's see what we're doing here. Anything weird? So let's see if this looks a little bit better now that I've found those missing whatchamacallits. Because I'm very curious to see what happens next. In theory, I give him the note. He says all of the many things that he says. And then he also gives me like a ton of items. The most items that I've returned in a quest to date in this game. So let's see what happens. But in theory, one of the items is a bag. So we'll see if this works. It may not work. Nope. Let's fix that. Let's fix it. All right. So first step, I'm going to reload. Get my Bard note back. Let's go into the database and look at this giant mess of items that I'm trying to give here. Let's try this another way. So it's been interesting working on stream with y'all, because there are things like this where it's like we got a lot of sharp people out there. We got people that have worked on games, are currently working on games. We got a bunch of super techie nerd folks, database folks, and it's kind of interesting showing our work, right? Because if we didn't show the work, you could just assume we're like ultra efficient mad geniuses that get shit right the first time. But in showing you our work as we go, oh, so that actually pushes us past the character limit. Interesting. So this will be a whole nother problem that we got to fix. And you know what? I may come back in here, rename these items just to shave characters off, because I'm that hacky. Because I'm not going to reduce any of the text, and the bulk of the characters here are coming in through this long ass name that I've got. But if I change the item name, I'm going to have to update it in two places. Here, and then all of the corresponding quest turn-ins. So that'll be some work. So for now, where can I shave some? I can kill this line. Basically, I can cut this out here. That'll get me below the character limit so that I can at least test this. Let's deal with the first problem first, all right? And that's what happens when he gives me all these damn items. So let's start there. UK Rads says, hey Sean, maybe it had been mentioned before, but what is the team's stance on multi-questing? I never really understood it. If it was intended, wouldn't the item simply be tradable rather than having this odd system? It wasn't intended. It was never intended. It was just something that kind of emerged, and then it was a debate. I mean, it was kind of a debate back in the day as to like, do you disallow it and then remake the quest to sort of potentially account for it? Do we find other ways to, you know, break it and just leave it as is? And then there are a number of people that were kind of like, you know, it's a thing, let it be. I think the view on the team, the consensus is let's not allow for it. It's a bug. And if we want there to be collaboration on quests, let's build the collaboration in. If we wanted there to be multi-questing, let's build something that is a actual multi-quest type system. I believe that's the general consensus. I've responded differently in the past. I've responded snarkily and said I've multi-quested, so I don't think it's that big a deal, you know, that kind of thing. But I do believe that the general consensus is let's make things like that. Let's at least start from a point of having intent built into it. And then when you folks figure out some new ways to break our shit, we'll consider it case by case and go, oh, okay, well, didn't see that one coming. High five, guys. Rev Chumley says, in the multi-quest realm, how heavy is Eminem going to go on no-drop items? Always hated no-drop, couldn't twink or sell. We're gonna try to be as sparing as possible on no-drop. You know, ultimately it gives us a nice bit of control where we can say, hey, in this case, so-and-so really earned it. Or it shouldn't be hard. All right, so this part of this thing that we started an hour and 37 minutes ago. Hey, Silencer. Did I already say that? Now works. Now, do I... So it's fun because the item name here is a little bit longer. We've already bumped up against our character limit in this quest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to note that I need to come back here and basically rejiggle things a little bit in this quest to get everything fit in this interaction. I'm going to go ahead and fire off the interaction again so that I've got the items. I'm going to check, and Task Manager is showing me that memory is definitely a bit chewed up at the moment, but I don't think it's affecting the stream, is it? And I'll keep an eye on that, and we'll probably close out and relaunch the editor in a second. Not moving around, so it doesn't really matter. So so each one of these items has got a description. I've got a list of names here. Let's look at that and see if it looks okay. So it's essentially a reminder, or this is actually telling me all the people that I need to take these items to. When the quest text is put back together again, there is a question at the end, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go look and make sure I'm not lying to you. He says, my dear Bard, I'm sure you have questions. The names on the list, perhaps, about our humble guild, maybe. And so it's prompting you to look at the list, and you can ask about these guys. So let's ask and see if he'll tell me more about each one of these guys. And if not, then we need to fix it. What about Harbor Master? Cool. Fires off some text there. Looks good.